All right, we are in Anchorage. We're in Alaska, witnessing history in the making. And today's summit kicked off with a big surprise. Just as President Trump and Vladimir Putin walked across the tarmac, a B-1 stealth bomber escorted by 4 F-35 stealth fighter jets flew directly over Putin's head, which, by the way, seemed to surprise the Russian president. Pretty awesome moment. Here with reaction to all of today's events, Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin and New Hampshire Senate candidate Scott Brown. Markwayne Mullin, start with you. It was funny because I was in my radio studio and it was like, just like a mini earthquake, it felt like. And I'm like, what just happened? And TV was on like a 5-second delay, and then I saw it. But I was right outside. I was doing radio from right outside there.
Well, if you've ever had the privilege of hearing any one of those fly over, much less them in a formation, it is absolutely earth-shattering, and a sense of pride comes over you. But that was a message sent loud and clear without a word being spoken. That is an example of peace through strength, which is exactly where Reagan had Gorbachev, and is exactly where Trump has Putin right now. And I smiled. When I saw it, I literally smiled and laughed, and I said, if that's not Trump, then what is?
Yeah, good point. Your take on what we heard from President Trump about today?
You know, Sean, I think what you saw is a president that's extremely confident in his position. And now, first of all, I want to make it very clear. There is zero chance that Zelensky or Putin is at any table if Trump wasn't in office. And there's zero chance that Putin would be meeting with President Trump, especially coming to meet him on U.S. soil, if it wasn't for the economic impacts. Putin could care less about the cost of life. I mean, there's 950,000 Russians that have been injured that we know of, and they don't actually keep accurate counts, and there's no telling how many have passed away and been killed in this conflict. President Trump said he wants to stop the killing. Putin doesn't care about the killing. What he does care about is the dollar, or the ruble in his case. And by President Trump putting pressure on India and on China, it has seen the dooms for the rubles coming pretty quick if Putin doesn't come to the table. And so he's come to the table. He doesn't want the economic impact. Lindsay referred to this too, about saying that it's the economic danger that he's facing if a deal isn't struck. And President Trump knows that. I mean, what we're seeing right now, Sean, is President Trump, possibly the greatest president of all time, definitely in our lifetime. And it's amazing that you and I get to call Mr. President or Mr. Trump our friend. It's amazing that he can be just a regular guy and lead with such confidence that he does, through peace, through strength, through economic strength, and also understanding the art of the deal. No one's able to make a deal better than him.
Well, Senator Scott Brown, hopefully soon to be senator again, Scott Brown. You know, I brought up 4 things that I think contributed to Putin coming to the table. Number one, NATO now more than doubling their contribution in terms of defense. The European Union tariffs, that commitment of nearly $1 trillion in oil money that would have been spent on Russia to fund their war machine will now be spent on American energy. I think that was a big factor. Then, of course, the 50% tariff on India. I think that played a big role. You know, put all of that together, and I think you've got a combination where maybe Vladimir Putin sees that Donald Trump could have a huge impact on his economy, which is already struggling.
Well, Sean, first of all, there's only one person in the entire world that could go toe-to-toe with Putin, and that's President Trump. One of the things I've always admired and loved about what he does is he steps outside the box, and he does things differently than the establishment. He did it in North Korea in his first term. He's doing it now. And yes, all the economic strings that the president has, he will use them, and they matter because, as we've already talked about, Putin's economy is teetering, 20% inflation, having to pay exorbitant amounts of money to people to go to the front. The killings, the fact that their infrastructure is sagging. There's so many things in play. And I loved the fact when they flew the bombers over, he didn't do just one take. He did another take and then another take. So he was clearly rattled. And I thought the president did a great job. And once again, it's an important first step. There's only one president who wants an endless war stopped, and that's President Trump. And congratulations to him. And I wish him all the success in the world, because it's going to help not only the world, but our economy as well.
Look, I'll ask you both this. With what President Trump said today, and he gave this out of a 1 to 10 scale of 10, the hard work begins, land swaps, security concerns for Ukraine. Does it happen, Markwayne Mullin?
Absolutely will happen. I believe that because, as I said, Putin fears the economic impact, and the only country that can have an economic impact and force other countries to do so is the United States. He understands that there's a leader that he's having to deal with, and it's President Trump. He fears President Trump when it comes to that. And so, yes, I do believe it can happen, but at the end of the day, it's up to Zelensky and Putin to find the deal, and it's going to be a lot of tough decisions that's going to have to be made in the meantime.
At the end of the day, and the president said it, it's on them. Does it happen? We have about 10 seconds. Scott Brown.
That's right.
First of all, the only person that's going to make it happen is President Trump. He's a master of the deal, and it takes 3 people to make this deal, and I pray every night that he does it. So good luck, Mr. President.
All right. Good luck in your campaign. Scott Brown, New Hampshire, and Markwayne Mullin. Thank you both. All right, more Hannity.